Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck. And finally, today we're taking a look at from Power of the Primes. This is Terracon Hun Gurrr. Yes, this figure is long overdue, and it took a while for Amazon to get its stock in. I'm sure you've heard the various conspiracy theories and stories about that. But it's here, and I have to say, if you're going to buy one Voyager from Power of the Primes, I am recording this on Black Friday, so look for sales. I think it's Hun Gurrr. Now, the robot mode is a little lanky. I think that has a lot to do with what it has to do, being a, basically a triple changer going from the robot to beast and then the torso mode. As you can hear, there are some nice ratchet joints there in the shoulders. Just simple swivel rotation joints here in the elbows. Swivel, mushroom cap swivel there at the bicep. Ratchets in the hips, forward and back and in and out. And again, you just have that mushroom cap swivel there in the deep knee bend that's not ratcheted. You also have, thanks to the heads, the beast heads, you do have some ankle pivot. And like I said, the figure looks a little lanky. I think a lot of that has to do with, the fact that the arms here, the forearms have the combiner ports, and same here in the knees. The head is on a ball joint, but due to the design of the head, it is a little limited. No weapons. It does come with the feet. Those are already connected to the other Terracons, which we will look at towards the end of the video. We'll talk a little bit about them then. Other than that, as with all the other combiner torsos, everything that makes it a combiner is attached to the figure. So there's the chest for Abominus and all that. Would have been nice to include a weapon. I was kind of hoping that the 4 other Terracons, their weapons could combine. And while there are little pegs and ports on them, unfortunately, it just doesn't work out. So, yeah, that's about it for robot mode. We're going to forego the transformation. So we're just going to go from this to this. And if I'm honest, I think this is the mode where Hun Gurrr really shines. This is its beast mode, monster mode, whatever you want to call it. Transformation is very simple. Really like the look of it. The legs, double joints and what have you, really can open up possibilities for articulation, especially articulating those monster heads. You do have, because of the way they transform, you do have a little articulation there in the jaw. The legs are a little misproportioned, but from what I remember, I never had the original G1 toy. I think that's kind of accurate. But yeah, it's really cool looking. Like I said, not that hard to transform. But transformations don't have to be hard to get you where you want to go. And in terms of articulation, you do have the shoulders and elbows from robot mode, as well as I just mentioned those knee joints and leg joints from robot mode for the heads and the back leg. So while these front legs are a little limited, you still can get some stuff out of them. So I guess all that's left is to go to torso mode. So we'll go from this, and here's Hun Gurrr in the torso mode for Abominus. At this point, I'm sure, we'll talk about what pretty much every other reviewer's talked about, and the fact that this figure bears a strong resemblance and transformation to the Wave 1 Combiner Wars Silverbolt. In fact, you've had people over the years making custom Hun Gurrs out of Silverbolt. And I have to say, yes, it's very similar. And I think I heard something about, like, the designer of Silverbolt also did Hun Gurrr. Let's be honest. Silverbolt was the best torso. In terms of transformation, the way it came together, the proportions for the upper legs and stuff. So it would make sense that that general scheme would get reused. But I do want to point out that, yes, you do have it where the arms of robot mode become the leg mode. You have the elbow joints pegging into place. But this upper torso is a completely different transformation. There are some hollow bits. I'm sure as you can see, the way the legs fold up here. The chest is all self-contained on the back. Also, you do have this little opening for a combiner of the Prime Wars Prime Master little cube there. The thing of combination you can stick in there, or the Terracon Enigma of combination, but also the way the head antenna was done. If you remember on Silverbolt, it was a little trickier. This I like a lot better. They do fold back. I mean, they are still made of rubber, but a little stronger rubber. But yeah, so while there are some similarities, it is very different enough to say that this is not a retool, repaint, or what have you. It just happens to use some of the similar ideas. So, all that's have to do is pause and give you a look at the fully combined Abominus. Okay, before we get into Abominus, I did want to show off, this is what one of the feet for the Terracons looks like. These came with Hun Gurrr. As you can see, you can put the Prime Masters in there, and there's some ports in there, and obviously you can peg on to various positions on the robot. I personally think it looks stupid. I would prefer to handgun or something. But as you can see, I mean, this is how the foot looks. And you do have a little ratchet joint here. And I might have gone over this before with Starscream or Grimlock, but this is fine. I mean, it does look a little undersized when it has a leg, so they worked in the idea that you can take the leftover hand shield, torso, Prime Master papooses for the figures that are going to be legs, peg them in, and you get a much larger, nicer looking foot. Now, obviously, the first problem that presents itself is the colors don't match. Now, the second problem, and this is something that took me a while to really figure out, why am I not completely enjoying this? And that has to do with, by adding in this extra Prime Master papoose, you basically set off the balance of the ankle. If this is how you're going to have the foot, there should have been some way to slide this ankle joint back. I would say maybe to right about here or so, right where it's pegging in. And I think that would have had a more balanced look to it. I don't know if that's the right term. Maybe something that's a little more centered. I mean, as it is, it's fine, but something just looks off, especially when you have these all combined up. But that's just me. I'm sure most people really don't care at this point, since we're knee-deep. We're, most Wave 1 Siege figures are out and, what have you. But just something I wanted to point out. So, let's take a look at Abominus in its combined mode. Okay, and here we have Abominus all combined with the other Terracons ready to rock. And on one hand, while I'm very happy to have another one of the old classic Scramble City combiners back and with us, there's some issues I have. Now, I just mentioned the issue with the foot, but also there's the fact that, and again, this is just me, but Abominus's main opponent, at least in the cartoon, was Computron. And as we know, there were two versions of Computron. Well, it just doesn't look like they go together. And that has to do with the fact that the US version of Computron has very different feet and very different hands that just don't match. In fact, those were the enhanced hands that came with a Victorian. So, you have that issue. And then the Japanese version, besides being completely different molds, it has the standard Combiner Wars hand limb weapon module. And this is where we are now, where the hands basically all have that double thumb. I mean, basically those Combiner War limb weapon modules, they worked fine in my opinion. I liked how they had the thumb centered. It made for a more realistic look. Now if you want, you have to have these thumbs folded up and what have you. And, it just doesn't blend in right. Now, of course, there are still the same issues with Abominus that you have with all the Combiner War limbs, and that's basically the hips of the robot. There's enough wiggle room between the gaps, as you saw when I was just moving it, that you can get that Combiner Wars lean. I mean, it's not that bad now because this is really like the first time, second time I'm combining Abominus, but over time the figure will lean forward more, and that's something I wish Hasbro could have taken care of. But I mean, in all honesty, this is it. This is our Abominus. This is probably the last time we're going to see the Terrorcons in any form as a combiner. I mean, I don't even know if they're popular enough or there's enough demand to get a Masterpiece combiner. And even then, I've heard that Takar's already nixed the idea of doing combiners in Masterpiece because of the cost and what have you. But this is it. And I would have liked a little something more. I would have liked some issues fixed. I really would have liked this to look like the other combiners I have. But it is what it is. I mean, it is fun to have, and the colors strike a very unique look to them and all that. So, yep. Well, there's really not much else to say. All these figures are available at retail now. They might be getting pushed out for Bumblebee toys, and Siege is coming, but they are available on Amazon for retail prices, shipped and sold by Amazon. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm recording this on Black Friday. You might be able to get some sales and, get an Abominus for a lot cheaper than what I initially paid, which was, around retail, but, Amazon likes to be funny with their prices. So, this is your old pal Chuck from Hun Gurrr and all of Abominus. We will see you next time.